Hello, and welcome to another video where I will take you through a Hotlap around Jeddah. After that we'll have a look at the setup and then we'll go straight through to the race strategy. So coming around the corner you want to get a pretty good exit to get the speed into the lap. And remember also to do the DRS right there. Otherwise coming into the lap, going into turn 1 you want to brake just after the 100 meter board, just around there. And then going into turn 1, down to third, down to second into turn 3 and then short shift up to third right away. So the next corner can be very tricky. You want to brake just around the 50 meter board and then cut the corner as much as you can while going down to 4th gear. So the next part of the track is probably the most tricky one. You want to go up to 7th gear around here, get as close to the wall and then turn in right after. Down to 6th gear and then right around here you want to brake just around 30%. Going into the corner, just try and turn in as much as you can, take a little bit of curb here and then go up to 7th gear and then just flat out. Coming down to turn 13 you want to brake just after the 50 meter board and then go down to 4th and get as close to the wall here. So the next corner you want to take care about is turn 16. Right here you want to brake just before the 50 meter board, going down to 5th and then take the curb right here and then just go up to sticks and then flat out. In these corners you just want to get as close to the wall as possible, but coming down to turn 22 you want to brake just around the 50 meter board and turn in right away. This curb you don't want to go over, just hit it with your right tires. Then just full throttle down to the last corner, and as the last corner comes up you want to brake just around 80 meters and then go down to 3rd gear and get as close to the wall as possible. Then just remember to get the DRS, and then that was the lap, boys. So the time we got was a 1:28.1, but we can do a little bit better. But the lap was a good way to show you how to take the corners. But let's dive right into the setup now, boys. This Hotlap setup you can also do in the races as well. The front wing is 20 and then the rear wing is 24. The transmission is 50 on throttle and 52 off throttle. In the geometry you want to do front camber with a -2.6 and then all the others all the way to the left. For the suspensions you want to do front suspension at 4, rear at 1, then 3-1 at the anti-roll and then right height is 2 and 3. So for the brakes we do 100 and then 50 and front brake, and then the tires are all the way to the right. So that was the setup, and let's go straight through to the race strategy. Remember to subscribe, boys. For the race strategy you want to do a one-stopper. You're gonna start on the mediums and then go straight through to the soft. For the fuel load you want to put around 25.6, as I'll show you at the end of the race I had a bit too much. The only change I made in the setup was on the tires, where I'll just put a click on the left on all of them. But let's get started. We're doing the formation lap and I'll just skip straight through to the end, where we are doing the manual grid positions, which is a very cool feature. I managed to do a purple one again, but a bit lucky because as you can see now I stopped and then I could just drive a bit further to get the purple. So I had the throttle at around 15-20% when started, and I started the P6, but at turn 1 I got past Sainz and Hamilton and was hitting Russell just a bit with my front wing, but didn't get any damage, so that was lucky. Getting past Verstappen and I was up to P3. But let's skip ahead now. Coming into lap 3 we were overtaking Perez, and I will just show you what to take care of when you have a car with a lot of fuel. So going into turn 1 you want to brake a bit earlier than before on the Hotlap, otherwise you can take it pretty much the same. Coming into turn 4 you want to brake a bit earlier as well, as the car is very heavy coming into the corner, and maybe just go a gear down as well. Coming into this section you want to do a bit more careful, don't go up to 7th gear and brake a bit more here so you don't go over the curves here. Otherwise just straight line here, and then coming into this corner you can go down to 3rd gear, but you can also do it in 4th as I did. Now you just want to get as close to the wall as possible to cut some times. Otherwise here you go down to 4th gear instead of 5th and cut the corner just as much as you did on your Hotlap. Stay as close to the walls as possible here, and then coming down to turn 22 you want to brake just before the 50 meter board, and then don't go over this curb here as you'll just slide your car around. So better be safe than sorry. Coming down to the last turn and you'll brake just after the 100 meter board, going down to third, giving it all it can. Don't do as much short shift as I did, but let the car get more throttles on. But that was my fastest lap on the medium tires. But after 5 laps you can see we had around 14% tire wear, so we could still easily drive the car around. But let's skip to the end of lap 18 where you want to go into the pits. You will have around 55 to 60% tire wear, so it's a perfect time to go into the pits. Remember to get down to 80 kilometers and then get the right turn in. I managed to do a purple here as well, so that was perfect. Jeff would have been very proud. But the thing to remember in F122 when coming out of the pits is that you have very cold tires. They're around 70 degrees Celsius, so when going into the first corners you want to be very careful. So have in mind when going into turn 4 that you'll slide way more than usual, so just take it more slow and otherwise turn in as you normally do. So this section you'll slide around as well, so just take it a bit slower so you don't lose the game in this section. Otherwise coming out you'll have the tire temperatures around 80, so just perfect. But let's skip to lap 21 here, where you have done 2 laps on the soft tires and you have around 12% tire wear. So you will have around 5 to 6% each lap. But now that you have gotten the soft tires on, you can feel that the car is very easy to manage. That's because of the low fuel and the fresh tires. So now you are able to push the car as much as you can do in the hot laps. But if you don't want to risk it, then do a gear low in the tricky corners so you don't exceed track limits or spin the car. But let's skip ahead to the final lap to show you how the fuel was and how the tires were doing. So as you can see we had around 0.4 laps in fuel left, which means that you could easily put it down to 25.6 if there is no safety car. But the tires were around 42, so that was not even that much for the soft tires. So that was it for this video. Hope you all enjoyed it. Please let me know if you have any questions in the comments. Otherwise, have a great one.